Hey guys, day 2 of our reading lesson for this week, and you will need your Captain Arsenio book, which is in your My Book. It's on page 57, and please go back to the video of how to find the text online if you still have any questions, or email me, Parent Square, whatever it takes. So, today we're going to go over our standard, our objective, vocabulary. We're going to go over what literary elements are, and there's also a video you can watch. I'm not going to play the video on here, but the slides are on Canvas. And then we're going to go over our success criteria for today. I'm going to model for you how to look at a literary element in our story. And then I have provided the link to Canvas on the quiz or our assignment for today. So if you can see our standard, it's to quote accurately from the text, which is to use text evidence. And our objective today is students will be able to explain the literary elements in the story using text evidence. Let's go over our critical vocabulary one more time. We're going to do this every day. There are a couple questions on our test on Friday about our vocabulary, and it's not just like matching or passionate means blah, blah, blah. It's like, here is the word in a sentence. Did they use the word correctly? Yes or no? And if they did use it correctly, explain why it was correct, or if they did not use it correctly, explain why it wasn't correct. So make sure that you know what they mean, but also can tell when someone is using it wrong. So our words are passionate. Let's have a strong feeling about something. I'm very passionate about pugs. I love pugs. Impulse, the desire to do something. Distinguished. A distinguished group is known and respected for its excellence. Eccentric, it's someone who's kind of odd. Circumstances are the events that might cause something to happen. Evidently, if something happened evidently, it happened for an obvious reason. I'm going to put this in present so we can see it a little better. Acceleration, the act of moving faster. Prototype is a rough model created to test something before creating its final form. Contribution, it's when you help to something. And conceived, it's when you create or think of something. So think of those words. Think of the sentences that might be used correctly, might be used incorrectly. Here's the video for literary elements. So all the slides are posted on Canvas that you could click on, and they're not for you to work on. It's not an assignment. It's for you just to look at. So you can click on this to get the video, and this explains more in depth what literary elements are. And it's actually a link to a website, and that website has a really good video on explaining literary elements. So I'm going to explain them really quick, not as good as the video, but my take on this. So there's a lot of things that make up a story, and the author puts all of these things into place when they're writing to really get you a feel for the characters, the setting, what's going on in the story, and the different events of the story. So think about characters. We know a character is a person or an animal or something in this story. And the author gets into their heads, and you know what they think. You know how they act. You know what they do. You know what other characters say about that character, or what that character thinks about other characters in the story. My son and I are reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid right now. And I know what Greg is thinking, but I also know what he thinks about the other people in the story. So character, setting, where the story takes place. There could be multiple settings in a story. Plot. In the plot, there's a conflict and a resolution. So if you think of it as like a mountain, all these different events go up, and then there's a conflict and a turning point, a climax, and then a resolution. and everything gets resolved. So conflict is the problem, resolution is how it's solved. So let's see. We're watching the movie Zombies. In Zombies, there's a conflict. Zombies shouldn't be allowed in the school. Zombies eat brains, all these things. And then the resolution is zombies are people just like me and you, and they get to go to school together, and they get to do all these different things together. So conflict and resolution are part of the plot. And then events are things that happen in the story. The characters might change. The affect, the mood might change in the story. I know in Zombies in the beginning, the mood is we don't like zombies. Zombies are mean. Zombies are gross. And then in the end, zombies get to do everything. They get to cheer on the cheer squad. They get to play on the football team. They tear the wall down and everyone gets to be together. And the events build the plot. The different things that happen in the story build it up and also help resolve it. So I want you to think about this. What would be the easiest for you? Character, setting, plot, or events for you to identify and for you to talk about in our story. Now think about which one is going to be the hardest for you. For me, I think that setting is pretty easy because I can tell where a story takes place. And figuring out some of the conflict and the resolution, that might be a little tough for me. So let's move on. These are our steps to success. So if you look right here, we're going to read the story, which I know we read yesterday, but I'm going to read just a little excerpt today. And we're going to identify the characters, all the literary elements today. Character, setting, plot. Remember, plot is conflict and resolution together. And the events, there's a beginning, middle, and end. There's how the mood changes, all these different parts of the events. And please go back to the chart, the anchor chart, whenever you need to. That's why it's there, and it's also online. So here's our story. This is page 59 of our story about Captain Arsenio. This is my teacher copy. But I'm going to have you pause right here, read through this page again, and I really want you to think about character. What do we know about the character? What can we say about the character as a literary element? So pause right here and we'll get back to it in a minute. Okay, so I'm really going to focus on the character of Manuel J. Arsenio. So I'm going to think about what have we learned about Captain Arsenio so far. And I'm going to use my text evidence. So I'm not just going to make it up. I'm going to use text evidence. Okay, so what do we know about him? He was a careless, he didn't care, cheese master, blacksmith, scuba diver, ship captain. Though he was given the easiest of missions, he was given easy tasks in each of these, he couldn't complete them. So to me, that sounds like he might be quitting. He might be a quitter. Sorry, guys, work with me here. I don't know what I'm doing. So he would quit. He was careless. This problem may be the reason he left those jobs behind and entered the distinguished pages of aviation history. I think that's really important, and it speaks to his character. It speaks to who he is. So the text evidence says he was careless in his jobs before aviation, and aviation is flying, and he couldn't complete them. And I'm going to make a connection to myself as well. Like, I know that when I'm not really into something, I don't usually complete it. I kind of just let it go. So one day in 1782, so that was a while ago, Captain Arsenio decided to build the first long series of eccentric, which I know means odd, projects that would change his life. And although he had little knowledge of physics or mechanics, he had access only to useless materials. He demonstrated great patience and determination throughout the course of his flight experiments. Okay, so his character is actually changing throughout these two paragraphs. I see that in the beginning, he's careless when he's with things that he doesn't necessarily have a passion for. And then later on, he demonstrated great patience and determination. And I know that when I am very patient and determined to do something, I'm going to do it. And that's how he felt about aviation and making things that fly or making himself fly. So he's already changed in these two paragraphs. He went from careless to things that he didn't have a passion for to having patience and determination for something he was passionate about. So, what did you see me do? Well, I read it, thought about my character, and I annotated my text. You can write in your book as well. He was careless in the beginning, and then I compared that to how he was in that second paragraph. And then throughout the whole story, he's going to change. He's going to grow into the character that the author wants you to believe that he is. It also says he was an adventurous man who tried many types of jobs, but he hasn't stayed focused. He was careless. He was foolish. And like I said, he was a quitter. But then when you find that thing that you're really passionate about, you will do anything to be a part of it. That's how I feel about teaching. I would do anything for teaching. So, you saw how I found the character and kind of the events and his mood and how he changed throughout the story. So, let's look at this. You're going to still think about your literary elements. Please go back to the anchor chart on the slide that was before, but did I read the story? Yeah, I read the story. Was I able to find the characters? Yeah. The setting, not so much yet. You're going to find that later on in the story. We had a little bit of a conflict. He wasn't passionate in the beginning about those jobs, but then when you find something you're passionate about, you go for it. And then events, things that happen in the beginning, the middle, and the end. So think about those steps to success. Feel free to write in your book. It is your book. Write in it. If you see character, write character off to the side. Setting, write, this might be a problem. This could be a solution or resolution. This could be an important event in the story. Maybe you go back and you're like, oh, that wasn't really that important. But make sure you also click here to take the quiz. It'll take you to Canvas. And like I said, it's not really a quiz. It is just me making sure you're doing your work, listening. So I want you to see this. You're going to have to tell who the character or characters are. You guys, we have to start using full sentences, okay? You can't just say Captain Arsenio. You have to say, Captain Arsenio is the character in the story. Full sentence. Capital letter, period. Okay? And then in some of these, it'll say 3 to 4 full sentences. What was the conflict in the story? Can you say aviation, period? No, first of all, that's not a full sentence. And I asked for 3 to 4 full sentences. Guys, this is worth 5 points. If you give me 2 sentences, are you going to get 5 points? No, you will get maybe a point. So I go through these, and if it says 3 to 4 full sentences, you have to write 3 to 4 full sentences. Write more if you want, but make sure you don't get too off track. What's the resolution of the story? 3 to 4 full sentences. Again, you need to give me those sentences to get the full amount of points. If you look on Skyward, and I've graded a bunch of your stuff, so if you look on Skyward and you're like, why do I have such a low grade? Well, it's because you're not giving full sentences. You're giving me one word. You're not reading the whole question. So that's what I've noticed recently. Online is great, and I love teaching you guys virtually. But you have to know that in class, you have to write full sentences if you were in the school. And that's what we expect from you virtually as well. So if you have any questions, let me know. Parent Square, email. My extension is 3381 at school. Let me know if you need anything, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.